First test drive has not went well. So, we got an appointment in the morning at the muffler shop, so we're trying to get this loaded up. And if you notice, that's not the way I like to do things, loading them backwards. So let's go over this. So you see I'm loading it backwards, which is not the way I usually like to haul cars. I like to do it with most of the weight on the front and then center the car over the axles and stuff. Works good for this trailer, doesn't overload the pickup and everything. But what I'm having to do, since this car sits so low to the ground, that pulling it front ways, so I've opted to pull it and load it on backwards. But then I had to take the ramps and block them up because they're really not that long and they got these tall edges. I'm hoping I can get that angle up to where it'll miss and not pull on that tag, and even the cables rubbing on the dovetail. Also, I've had to jack up the front of the trailer and the back of the truck, and you can only use a vintage Volkswagen wheel to do that. Also, the truck's wanting to drag a little bit because you're pulling on a car against those blocks that's putting a load on it. It's wanting to drag the truck, so you can only use 15x8 Chevrolet steel wheels that you've already blasted and painted for another project to chalk the wheels. So let's see if this car will come up backwards and I can try to get it loaded without tearing the front or the rear off this car. All right, we're going up, going up, going up. That's looking good. It's looking promising. Looking good. All right. A little bit more, a little bit more. We're on the way. Okay, we go this first hump. I also want to keep in mind of that front, how close that is to the ground. I don't want to end up making that drag the ground. So. All right, we'll unload. All right, so now we should be in the ballpark. And the idea is that I have to do this. I got to load it once, unload it, and then load it back up. So that's 3 times I've got to do this. And it's going to be all by myself. So let's have a look here. Looking pretty good. Got a few inches. It should be just enough. I just got to remember exactly how I'm doing this. So. More, and we got to stop because I think we're going to be touching that front valance. Dang it. How we looking? Oh, we're so close. Rubbing the weeds. And this is one of those things where if you damage the back bumper, or even the money is on the front end of this car, that front spoiler is worth about $350 to replace. And then that nose piece is a $1,000 bill if it gets damaged in the slightest way, and it will ruin the feng shui and patina of this car. So to say I'm a little bit nervous is an understatement. Yeah, just pushing that block. Gosh dang it. Okay, I gotta check it. Gosh. Yeah, it pushed that other block in, but luckily. Okay, we'll make it. All right, so far we got it loaded without any damage. Just gonna have to ghetto rig up some stuff and try to get that thing where it lays flatter, where the car doesn't drag all that stuff under the ramps. But so far, nothing's torn up, everything's good. So I call that a win. Let's back it in the garage and get it strapped down, and it'll be ready to go. And there it is, it's loaded up. I just gotta finish strapping it down. Just making a few adjustments and being ready for in the morning. I just have to do it, unload it exactly the way I loaded it, and load it back up exactly the way I did it and unloaded it, if that makes any sense. So, all right, so we made it. We are at B&M Custom Exhaust in Owasso, Oklahoma. And we got the old Camaro here, so we're gonna attempt to try to unload this thing. This is gonna be a booger. This is kind of a hard car to haul, but I think with a new set of taller tires, it'll probably do better, but we got to get it running right and get this thing quietened down. So I got it here waiting to go in, but I noticed I had antifreeze in the lifter valve yesterday, and I cleaned it all up last night and run it, but it's leaking, or it was leaking from the radiator hose here. So I tightened that up, but now it's leaking there, and it's leaking from this outlet. So car's not going down without a fight today. So there it is, car number 5 this guy's done. It ain't going down without a fight. There it is, man. Praise God, it'll be quieter when I... All right, guys, next stop of the day. On the side of the highway. Woo. So a friend I work with, he's got some problem action going on here. Sheared all the wheel studs off. But the question is, I don't think this will fit on my trailer. That's a big, long pickup, man. Well, guys, I think it was a no-go on that F350. Counted it out, and that thing's just a slight bit too long to fit on this trailer. And that truck without that flatbed is about 8,000 pounds. So I would imagine that thing's every bit of 9,500 pounds. And this is only a 7,000 pound trailer. So yeah, we opted to go with the tow truck route so he can take it home. Good thing is, all he needs is to pull that drum off and put new studs in it, and it ruined one of the wheels. So that's all he really has to do to fix it. It's just too dangerous on the side of the highway to work on it. And really just get it towed by a truck that's properly rated for that size. So now we're just waiting on him to call about that Camaro, and we'll go pick that up. So All right, guys, so here is the finished product from the muffler shop. There's his tailpipes, and that's why I really like using this guy. His tailpipes are always just perfect, and they exit just properly. But yeah, and usually these cars use an offset inlet and a center outlet. But I'll try to get up under here where you guys can see a little bit. That's another problem of a super low car. And here is our view from the side. So very good work. This car has shorty style headers on it. So I opted to not go with the long tubes on this, and then I reused the pipe that was on it because these headers are actually on a car just like this before. And then we'll come over here and do our passenger side shot. Looking good, looking good. First test drive has not went well. So I was going down the road and I tried to pull it down in low range and it locks the whole car up. It's like, whoa. I was like, what the crap? So next thing is I tried to pull off right here and whip a UE. The car completely stopped pulling. So I was trying to get it moved while I shut the car down and let it sit for a sec, started up, it went in reverse. Well, I got it to go and drive and it went. And then nothing. Like, it stopped right in the middle of the road on this blind curve, and I couldn't push it backwards, I couldn't push it forwards. Well, luckily, by the grace of God, I got it started and backed it up right here. But this dude ain't going anywhere, so I'm gonna have to go back down and get my trailer and load it back up. Gosh dang. Son of a... I just thought I was done fighting with these ramps and stuff. Let's go back and get our car, man. Dang. Boy, that thing does look good, though. So here we are, trailer load, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're gonna load this thing up for the 4th time. So, I had to get a ride back, grabbed the truck and trailer that just 20 minutes before, I just unloaded this car from the muffler shop and I decided to go on a little bit of a test drive. Well, I got down to the corner and it just felt like it was in one gear, you know what I mean? And so, I pulled it down and low and the whole car felt like it locked up. So I moved it back to second and drive and it drove fine. Well, I made it down here to make a UE and I just lost everything. Well, then I got trying to do a U-turn and I couldn't push the car up the crown of the road. And this curve right here is the most dangerous thing down here. People run 60 miles an hour around that curve, dude. So I was like, please God, help me get this car out of the road because it's a bad spot. Luckily, I sat in the car, I fired it up, reverse, I made it to this spot. So thank you, thank you. So we got a few options now. Transmission in this car is smoked, it won't do nothing. Check the fluid, it's still red, I don't know what's going on. So I've got one option, take it over to R&R Transmission, have him rebuild the transmission. I'm still gonna have to pull it. Or I have a 77 model Super T10 26 spline 4-speed. I've got the bell housing. I've got most everything to swap into one of these cars. So I got some thinking to do. But if you guys like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe, hit that like, drop some comments and some options because I prefer this car to be a stick shift, but then again, I don't know and I need to be cost effective because I've got quite an investment here. But I appreciate it, guys. We're gonna load this up and take this thing home. So thanks, guys.